Hi, welcome back. This is part three of my series. So again, when we left off last time, I met up with my friend who I was talking to at Cal Tippers. For those who know old gay Atlanta, that's where it was a nice little bar, for us to chill, eat, drink, all that good stuff. So once I met up with him, met up with his friends who was in town, we left. We was about to leave out around about 11:30. Then that's when I ran against my former best friend who came to the bar. So I hung out with him for a couple more hours. Then I went home. And of course, the whole ride home, I was just thinking about, okay, so this is a lot to process. The guy was very cool. We talked about a lot of things. Just really getting to know each other since, again, we have that history of being former, not classmates, but went to the same high school. So he hit me up and let me know that next day they was doing like cookout at his place, and of course I want to know that I need to bring anything like food, sides, dessert, drink, whatever the case may be. And he told me, no, you just bring yourself, and we have everything prepared here. Okay, so he sent me text me his address. So the next day I got myself together, did my little workout in that morning, just get myself back acclimated, well, continuously acclimated to my workout routine. And I got myself ready, and drove to his place. Now, it's very quiet. Well, I would say quiet neighborhood, very secluded, cul-de-sac neighborhood. Good looking home. I thought, okay. So I got out. He greeted me at the door. And then, of course, met his mother, who at the time was currently living with him. So we had a good time. He cooked his ass off. The ribs, chicken, hamburgers, all the sides, everything was good. I ate, drank. I was good. I was, I mean, stuff. So he did a phenomenal job grilling for Labor Day, and we did more talking. At the function. I think it was I only recall just us three there, and maybe some more people showed up. I don't know, but at the time, it's just so we got to know each other more on a more social level as we continued to the whole dating process. So, once I left because I had to go to work the next day, it was cool. I was, he was thinking about me, I was thinking about him. We just had this very effervescent, as I'm trying to say, line of communication. Went to work, everything was cool. He texted me in the morning. You do a little cute little good morning text. Hey, just thinking about you. I had a good time over the weekend. Blah blah blah. All that hoopla. So of course I was doing the same thing. So we eventually met up that weekend. Just hang out. Went to a nice little Italian restaurant in my area. I think it's in Kennesaw because I was standing in Marietta/Smyrna. So we met there after work, had some drinks, great food, just continue on with the dynamic. So at this time, we didn't know where this direction was heading towards. We was still getting to know each other, but it kind of felt more of I won't say rush, but it was just really a lot of stuff going on at one time. But again, it was cool. We had a great time. We reconvened back at my place for a little bit before he went back home. Did a little smooching thing, kissing thing. Just fun. Just to plan our next outing. So, like I said, it was very cute. I had a good time. We both did, and it's just a real refreshing in my mind and opinion. So at this time, I'm playing something here. Okay, so what should I do? Should I give him something? Should I surprise something with something? I'm just going through all the channels, trying to find out what else can we do. So besides going to movies and stuff like that, so he came by my house because he went and picked me up, and of course, things got a little hot and heavy because we almost didn't make it to the movie. You know what I mean? But we did. Good time as usual, and like I said, it's a real building stage. I'll say the following week, and just like I said, like the second week, maybe the second week of September, we made it official. Like will be exclusive. We're gonna date only only us. And at that time, still young, my early mid 30s. So of course I'm just going with the flow. I didn't question it. I didn't rationale. I didn't do nothing. I just went full throttle and just say, okay, yes, this is the person I want. This he wants me. I want him. Blah blah. And it was good, you know. And like I said, we had our moments. We had our dating. We went out. We hung out. He met some of my friends. Met some of my family. Of course, I met his family. You know, we all had, you know, a great system of friendship. You know, we all came together. You know, so it was cool. I would say fast forward, you know, after the whole initial making official, there was a proposal on the line. And I'm like, you know, I didn't know I got a hint of it, well, thanks to my former best friend who hinted around it, you know, about it. But I didn't know myself if I was ready for that next level, especially since we just met during Black Gay Pride weekend, and then a couple weeks later we made it official. You know, I wouldn't say that's a trim in the lifestyle, but it has a lot to do with how some people are dating today. You know, that's just, again, these are just my opinions. You know, but you know, so I was like wondering what, you know, cause my birthday was coming up towards the end of December. You know, getting to the New Year's, and you know, I was just a little hesitant. You know, how should I go? What should I do? You know, with this information that I wasn't supposed to have. So I would say New Year's Eve. You know, he met back on my place. You know, we were going to just celebrate New Year's together. Our first New Year's. You know, after we celebrate Christmas, all the important holidays that came before, and right at the stroke of midnight, he went out to the hallway. I was still in the room, still in bed. You know, the countdown was over. You know, Happy New Year, blah blah blah. Let's say 26. Lord, I'm sorry. This was in 2014. Let me correct myself. 2014. So going to 2015, and he surprised me with flowers. You know, and then one of the rose stems, had the ring on it. So of course it took me off guard because, again, I didn't know this was really happening. But you know, of course, you know, there was nothing involved. I don't even think he even asked my mom for my hand in marriage. You know, it's I guess those traditional things that we played into. Again, my opinion. But so he got down on the proposed engagement. I said yes. You know, we celebrated, toasted, you know, had my little ring showing. Well, I got on it, you know, use your imagination. So, you know, now I'm thinking, oh man, we just met back in September during Black Gay Pride weekend here in Atlanta. A few weeks later, we made it official exclusively. And now, 3 months down the road, we are engaged. And of course, I didn't think nothing much of it. It's just something that happened. And I just, again, being in that age and that mindset, I just, hey, I didn't think anything wrong would happen or come from being engaged so early on, but I just went with it. And from there, things definitely, again, went fast, and yeah. But I'll be back on for part 4 of my love journey, and I'll talk to you soon.